This right here is a video that has the opportunity to make some of y'all mad. You might be going out there saying, wait a minute, what do you mean versus? Why are you talking about versus? These guys are on the same team. You wouldn't say Jack Hughes versus Nico Hischier. They're completely different players. Why are you making this video? And I'll admit part of the reason I'm making it is because I saw this thread pop up on the Buffalo Sabres subreddit, as one does when they're scrolling through the different NHL team subs. And it really got me thinking just about how good of a season we had for both of these guys. Today we're talking about the Buffalo Sabres and their two, dare I say, franchise defensemen at their disposal. 2 first overall picks, one taken in 2018, one taken in 2021. Today we are comparing and contrasting RASMUS DAHLIN and Owen Power. Now, the thing about these two guys is that if you had kind of grabbed the opinions of NHL fans that are not Sabres fans and put them into a vacuum, just kind of isolated them, I feel like everybody would definitively say, yeah, RASMUS DAHLIN, yay. Owen Power, nay. And I don't necessarily think that's all too accurate as to how things went. Because for RASMUS DAHLIN, we've been saying this the entire time, first overall picks in the 2010s set sky-high expectations that were unattainably high for other guys in later years. You had the Matthewses and the McDavids and the, dare I say, the Neil Yakupovs, and even the second overall guys like the Laines and the Eichels. These guys all came into the NHL at 18 years old, and they were great. RASMUS DAHLIN also followed in that same mold, because in his rookie season in 2018-19, the guy had 44 points in 82 games played. Now, Dahlin was drafted as a first overall franchise defenseman, so it's understandable to see how he was able to do so well. And give it a few more years, and this recent season saw him put up 73 points in 78 games. I think everybody in the NHL can look at Dahlin and say, yeah, that guy's a number one defender, that guy's a top-tier player, and he is only 23 years old, so he's gonna get better. As for Owen Power, he didn't fall into the same territory of first overall picks to do super well right away. The guys taken right before him, Jack Hughes 2019, Alexis Lafreniere 2020, these guys struggled in the NHL right away, and for Owen Power, he didn't even play in the NHL after getting drafted. He spent an entire full extra season with the University of Michigan Wolverines, which I'm going to say was probably the right decision, because when Owen Power was drafted, there was sort of a belief that said, yeah, this guy has a super high ceiling, he could be a number one defenseman, but when it comes to his development path, right now might not be the time for him to get thrusted into an NHL role. Maybe giving him a little bit more time to marinate in the NCAA, get a bit more comfortable, skating up with the puck, get just more aware on his feet and in his own zone. This might be the move for Owen Power. And for the most part, I applaud the guy for pretty much agreeing with those sentiments and saying, yeah, I feel like I need an extra year. I'm going to stay in the NCAA, and I'm not going to play with the Sabres until the end of the season. Which he did. He stuck around with the Wolverines, he had 32 points in 33 games played, and finished up 21-22 with a cup of coffee in the NHL. 3 points, 8 games played. Not amazing, but he was there, he was getting his chops, and of course, Sabres fans were very excited. Now, in this recent season, you didn't see Owen Power put up 70-something points like Dahlin did. Instead, he had 35 points in 79 games. But Owen Power got so much better as the year went on, it's kind of insane. Because when you take a look at some of the tape, part of the reason RASMUS DAHLIN is so effective as a player is because he's just so smart. He can hold onto the puck for a second, lure in an opposition defender towards him, and then Dahlin will just do a quick inside out. Okay, there you go, I'm just right by you now. I got some free space heading towards the net. Dahlin is so smart in how he manipulates opposition, his hands are very good, and when you combine this with his elite passing ability, he's able to make plays out of nothing. For Owen Power, you started to see, as the year went on, him doing some of the same things that Dahlin did. Not to say that Owen Power is a copycat by any means, but Owen Power played towards the end of this previous season like a guy who had been studying RASMUS DAHLIN tape all year and who had tried to incorporate that into his game. Slight little pump fakes while holding onto the puck at the blue line to throw off the opposition. Little whoop-de-doo inside-outside moves after drawing the opponents to him. Owen Power started to play a lot more of a smart game, combined with his very strong passing ability as well. While Owen Power was touted as being a first overall pick because of what he could be, hey, this is a big behemoth of a human being. He could charge down the ice from his own zone like a wrecking ball with the puck, just get by everybody and power it to the front of the net. Despite being a defenseman, this guy could be a strong, puck-carrying guy. Even though that was the report back in 2021, he's become a much more smarter player than that. He's showing tremendous patience in the offensive zone. He's allowing the play to come to him. He's feeding off of what he sees, and he's making the right plays. And this guy, I mean, he's only 20 years old himself, so Owen Power has such a good foundation of a hockey brain to work with alongside his big 6'6" frame that when you see questions like this pop up on the Sabres subreddit, Dahlin versus Power. As a former hater, I'm a Toronto-born and raised Leafs fan who has potential interest in liking the Sabres for multiple reasons beyond just bandwagoning your mouth-watering franchise pool. Who's better between Dahlin and Power? I love defensemen, and I'm excited to start watching them both this season, but I haven't yet, so can you explain the differences in playstyle, development progress, and who is/will be better? The top comment says this: Power is going to be way better than anyone thought he would be. For all the talk about how it was a bad year to pick first and the voices saying they would pick someone else, Power is going to be elite. Top 10, maybe higher amongst the league's best D for years. That said, I still think it's Dahlin. He carried the team often last year and didn't get enough credit nationally here in Canada. I think he puts up Carlsson numbers someday while being very good defensively. I see Dahlin top 2 with Makar for a lot of years. That said, Owen Power is only 20, 19 at the start of last year. Who knows what he accomplishes? Buffalo will be anchored by 2 D-men who score a lot and defend well. It's a very optimistic future. 994KK1 says Dahlin is obviously head and shoulders above Power, but he's much older too. The biggest playstyle difference at the moment is that Dahlin is a lot more aggressive in all facets of the game. As to whom will be better in the future, that is anyone's guess. It takes a long time for D-men to find their way. Here's another comment, one that I actually really like, from Toronto. Yeah, and I said it like that, Toronto, because there's a triple R in there. RRR. Has anybody else seen that movie? Fantastic. Power did not look out of place as the number 1 defenseman when Dahlin and Samuelsson were out of the lineup. His stick work is elite and he has soft hands. He's going to get more physical as he matures, but he already plays like a veteran. The sky is the limit. Dahlin has an edge that sets him apart from the other top D in the league. He's underneath the opponent's skin and draws and handles the pressure against him. Power may be the better defender, but Dahlin's intangibles along with his skills are unmatched. He's a bit dirty and extremely vengeful, so players need to keep their heads up when he is on the ice. And that's one of the more underrated things that I've noticed when watching a lot of Dahlin tape over the years too. He's got a bit of a snarl to his game that people wouldn't immediately expect to be there. As for Owen Power, you might say, oh, well, he's 6'6", he might be a bit physical himself, right? Well, we'll have to wait and see as he gets older if he really develops that style, because for right now, Owen Power surprised me with just his offensive patience and creativity much more, rather than his brute force, wrecking ball, puck-carrying type of style that people heralded about in his draft season in 2020-2021. A few other comments in this thread talk about how it feels like a Niedermayer-Pronger situation, and I'm not going to go out there and definitively say that it's like that right away because, yeah, these guys are Hall of Fame players if you didn't already tell, and it's tough to label guys who are 23, 20 years old as, you know, future Hall of Famers, unless they're Connor McDavid. But either way, when it comes to Dahlin and Power, these guys are good. They're very good. And for Owen Power especially, I'm surprised at how good he became this previous year. Not that he wasn't good heading into the year, but the expectations were sort of muddied because, hey, he had spent the extra year in the NCAA. He's not like the other first-round picks that played right away, and the other first-round picks didn't really produce too much either. So what are we going to see out of this guy? And I'll tell you what, you saw a lot more than just raw hard points. Sure, Dahlin had 70-something points in 70 games, Owen Power had 40 fewer, but these guys are still leading the charge when it comes to where the Buffalo Sabres are going to go with their defense as the years go on. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Rasmus Dahlin versus Owen Power. Of course, right now you could say Dahlin is better. Long term, you could say Dahlin has a higher ceiling. Long term, you could say Owen Power has a higher ceiling. But it could never be said that these guys are not going to be impactful players for their team. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.